The second keynote, it's Marianne Mensah, the founder and CEO, the Climate Innovation Educational Lab. Please welcome Marianne Mensah.
Good morning, and thank you to the World Design Assembly for inviting me. It's a great joy to be with you today, because I believe that design has the power to contribute to a regenerative, net zero, and resilient future through its values, goals, and process. Regeneration is a natural process. Nature is cyclical. And I love to walk in the parks in the fall and see the tree leaves turn yellow, because I know that after the fall comes winter, and after winter comes spring, and everything blooms again. I also love watching children and enjoying nature. Every tiny insect, birds, animals is a source of joy. They have such a natural empathy with all living beings. And empathy is what we need now. Because our environment, our biosphere, is what sustains our society, which enables our economy. This is what this representation of the Sustainable Development Goals by the Stockholm Resilience Centers shows clearly. And our ancestors knew this very well. So what if design sustains our environment? What if design sustains life? Well, what looks obvious is actually a key question today, because we have entered the era of the Anthropocene, as Tim was just saying. And we are crossing the planet boundaries, this safe operating space for humanity. And today's, we can see on this graph that the land system change is degraded. Actually, 75% of land is degraded today. Biosphere integrity. 25% of plant and animal species are threatened. Biogeochemical flows, its nitrous and phosphorus cycles are severely altered. And novel entities relate to plastic, radioactive materials, and heavy metals. So this is a serious situation. But last year, the UN Conference on Biodiversity agreed to restore 30% of degraded land and to conserve 30% of all areas, land and seas. And so, what if design sustained these goals? What if design, contributed to the success of this regeneration of our environment? Well, regeneration was the objective of Hannah Banney, who is students at Design, the Sustainable Design School. And she chose for her diploma project to address the issue of food security in New Orleans. And she had 3 design drivers, which were affordability, community building, and of course, food security. Well, in her research and ideation phase, she looked at several agricultural practices, and she found that an old ancient techniques pre-Aztec actually, was the most relevant for her context, which was wetlands in New Orleans. And so she designed this innovative system, equipment, to scale up this ancient technique to feed the needs of families, communities, and even cities. And well, she received actually the congratulations of her jury. But, you know, she really managed to integrate nature at each stage of the design process and look at how nature could be a very powerful driver of human well-being. Well, actually, biodiversity and climate change are very interrelated, as actually the planet boundaries were showing. And net zero is about becoming carbon neutral at the horizon 2050. And it means shifting from a system based on fossil fuels energy to a system based on clean energy. And Energy Observer is a very interesting pilot project on the use of renewable energies at seas. Well, decarbonation is not only about energy, but it's also about buildings, about industry, about mobility, and agriculture. And it seems like a daunting agenda with a lot of constraints. But we know actually that constraints is a source of creativity for designers. And again, for this, their diploma project, two students from Design, the Sustainable Design School, decided to address a tricky issue of reusing old barges. There are a lot of old barges that are abandoned in France, and they came up with this innovative modular components that address different purpose, and that actually offers the possibility to reuse this old barge. And they also got an award from their jury for this project. So, you know, if we, from a design perspective, if we look at addressing human needs, actually climate is about our atmosphere, the air we breathe. So decarbonation is also good for human health. And what if design contributed to a clean and healthy environment? Because right now, 40% of the carbon emissions emitted by energy, mobility, industry, buildings remains in the atmosphere, causing the greenhouse gas effect and global warming. And in 2022, we reach already an increase of temperature of 1.50 degrees Celsius in average in comparison to the pre-industrial era, which is pretty alarming if we consider that the Paris Agreement has the objective to limit the temperature rise by 2 degrees Celsius at the end of the century, and preferably 1.5 degrees, to avoid any severe disrupting impact on humanity. So, there is an emergency, but we must acknowledge that there is also progress, especially on the front of circular economy. And designers have actually the possibility to look at the life cycle of a product and to apply strategies to reduce carbon emissions and harmful environmental impact at each stage of the life cycle of a product. So I took this example of Mud Jeans, a company based in the Netherlands, because they integrated this circular approach at the stage of the design. And they really decided to work with organic materials, to source, to work with local suppliers, and to design this innovative leasing system to collect and also jeans to upcycle and recycle them. And so altogether, they managed to avoid 250,000 tons of carbon emissions in 2022. This is not bad, isn't it? Well, we need more examples like this, because whether we like it or not, we are engaged in climate change, and every community will have to actually build resilience. And I live in Nice, a city that is prone to floods and heat waves, and built a green corridor to address both of these issues. Well, in 2016, I was myself caught in a severe flood event, and we were driving a car with my family on the highway. And, it took us 12 hours to do 20 kilometers. And this was, pretty threatening. And at the end, we managed to reach our home safely. And we were really grateful that our car brought us back there, back home. By the way, it was a Japanese car. And it made me really realize that collaboration was really a key, was very important at this moment. Collaboration with people and collaboration with rescuers, collaboration with all the force that were trying to address this disaster. Well, actually, disasters are not a fatality, because we can reduce the vulnerability of communities to the impact of climate change by reducing the sensitivity of our ecosystems to these disasters, meaning, for instance, for heat waves, planting trees to bring shadows, decrease the temperature, bring moistures, build also infrastructures, of course, and set up an information system and foster change behavior. We can also increase the adaptive capacity of our communities by fostering collaboration and, of course, setting up systems that will address the impact of the disasters. So what if design increased actually the adaptive capacity of ecosystem and contributed to the resilience of communities? Because right now, this is something that we need. 3.3 to 3.6 billion people are considered highly vulnerable to the impact of climate change by IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change today. This is a huge number, so this is a great agenda for designers. Well, design actually has the possibility to bring different stakeholders to the table and to reflect on how to foster solutions that will bring a consensus, that will address priorities, using nature-based solutions such as nature, planting trees, for instance, restoring parks will absorb water in case of heavy floods, building infrastructure, roads, dams, also using digital tools for early warning systems, and of course, fostering community action to better inform people of what to do in case of disaster. But I know Japan is quite advanced in this field. Well, I mean, actually, the action plan to prevent heat waves in Athens brought all these components together to really build resilience. Well, in conclusion, we need designers today because designers have the power to conceive innovative products, service, and ecosystem that will contribute to the regeneration, the decarbonation, and the resilience of our communities. And I would like to say, as a word of conclusion, that vive le design and vive les designers for the future. Thank you. Arigato.